guys, welcome back to another week in the kitchen. This week we're going to Cuba for another comfort food. This one's called Masitas de Puerco, which is literally fried pork chunks or fried pork cutlets. We need to start off by making a mojo marinade and let the pork marinate overnight. So as you see, it's night out right now, and I'm gonna go ahead and let this pork marinate overnight, and I'll start cooking it when I get home from work. So we'll be right back. Give me a few moments. Okay, this is for 2 pounds of pork cut up. You want to go ahead and cut the pork tenderloins into about 1-inch chunks. That means cut lengthways into quarters and then chop up to about 1-inch chunks. What I'm going to do here is we have 3 oranges, 2 lemons, 2 limes. You want the juice of all. And we'll put in quite a bit of garlic. That is the main flavor of this. And quite a few dry spices. So let me go ahead and cut these up and get them juiced. And then, and then we'll add them to the container over here, which we'll be marinating in. And start adding everything else. So we'll be right back. Alright, so after I juiced all the citrus, I'll go ahead and take the pulp. You can go ahead and throw it in here, seeds and all. Let me push it back through the sieve. You don't have to get all of it, just put as much as you can back in the bowl. And then the juice, we'll go ahead and pour that in the bowl. Now, as you notice, I'm mixing this in the middle bowl. You do not want to go ahead and marinate it in the bowl. You want to go ahead and put it in a plastic container of some sort, whether it be a gallon freezer bag or into these little plastic containers. Anyway, the metal will actually start corrode with all the citrus acid. So let me rinse off my fingers here. All right. So we want to add about a 1/2 cup of olive oil. Say about a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup. There we go. And then next up, I do about a 1/4 cup of pre-minced garlic. That's about a clove. Don't worry about getting the juice in there. You want to put a lot of garlic in there. Like I said, that's where a lot of the flavor comes from. So about a 1/4 cup packed, and then I kind of did a 1/2 of a 1/4 cup loosely packed with a lot of fluid. Go ahead and give that a good whisk. Kind of get it pre-incorporated in there. And then you want to go with about a 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. I actually like cumin, so I usually put 1 teaspoon in instead of 1/2. So that's like 1 heaping teaspoon. A little bit of crushed red pepper. I put probably about maybe a 1/4 to a 1/2 teaspoon in there. Italian seasoning, you want to put a teaspoon in there. They usually ask for oregano. I just put complete Italian seasoning in there. Pepper, you want to put about a 1/2 teaspoon in there. There we go. And then about a 1/4 to a 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika. Give me 1 second. Take the lid off and pour it a little bit easier. So about that much. So give this a good stir, let it sit for a little while you go ahead and cut the pork up. I will go ahead and cut that up real quick and I'll be right back. Give that a good stir there. Let that sit and incorporate for a little bit. So I have 2 tenderloins, about 1 pound each here. What I'm going to do is cut them up, put them in separate containers here. Which of course, cutting for me is not the easiest thing. You want to cut it lengthways like this twice. Once you cut it this way, flip it over, cut those pieces in half. Which of course I'm trying to cut it, and once it shrink up to the other side because I can't hold it. Alright, so yeah, you might want to cut these in half this way, and then you want to kind of cut it in 1-inch chunks. This is going to take me a while to do, so sorry. This, like I said, is going to take me a while to do, so let me go ahead and stop the video there and we'll be back when I'm done cutting it up. Alright, so now the meat's chopped into large chunks, bite-sized chunks there. We're going to take the marinade, pour half in one and half in the other. Make sure you mix it up, get everything incorporated again, because when you let it sit, everything went to the bottom. So let's give it a good mix. There we go. And like I said, pour half in one and half in the other one. Go ahead and make sure you cover the meat. You can come back later and just kind of push the meat down in there. Make sure you mix it up, get the meat separated from each other, because the meat tends to stick to each other and the marinade does not get all the way into the meat. So we'll have that one there, and go ahead and make sure all this is nice and incorporated. So you'll cover these up and put them in the fridge overnight. I'll come back probably about 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Right now it's about 11 o'clock at night. And we'll go ahead and start cooking these. They go well with black beans and yellow rice. Usually I'll doctor the black beans up. Just take a can or two of black beans, and I'll put a little bit of onion powder and some cumin in it, with just a touch of salt, and we'll serve that over yellow rice and serve it with a side of these. You'll take an onion, slice it up real thin, julienne it real thin if you can. Say about a half an onion, and I'll take the other half and dice it up to put on top of the black beans. And anyway, when you julienne, kind of thin slice the onion, you'll saute it in the pan with the pork. So we'll be back tomorrow when these are done marinating. So we'll see you then. Welcome back to day 2. Right now I'm trying to get the sides ready. While you're cooking or frying the pork, you want to put some onion in there. What I do is slice it up real thin and let it saute in there while the pork is frying. I'll take about a quarter of an onion, chop it up for the black beans. Right now I'm going to make some yellow rice. It calls for 2.5 cups of water. What I'll do is about 1/4 cup of chicken stock and 1/4 cup of water, a tablespoon of butter, and a tablespoon of olive oil. So I'm waiting for that to come up to a boil in the back here, and we'll go ahead and get the beans started. I love this thing. It's definitely a lifesaver for mine. Just pretty much start and forget. It'll do the job itself. So let me get the beans open. You'll want to go ahead and pour them in there without draining. So let me get that done. I'll be right back. So I went ahead and poured the beans in here. We'll get them started on medium. What I did was took a little bit of water, maybe 1/8 of a cup or so, a couple tablespoons. Just kind of washed out both of the cans and then poured it in there. So what I want to do is go ahead and add some onion powder. I never really know how much I put in there. I put in probably about 1.5 tablespoons or so. Actually, that looks like about a tablespoon. And then I'll throw in some ranch seasoning. I'd say about a 1/2 tablespoon. There we go. And as soon as I find there it is. You'll want to throw in about a tablespoon of cumin. Well, no, about a 1/2 tablespoon. That looks about right. This gives the beans a really good flavor, and in the long run, the longer you let them cook, the better they turn out. I finally got my wooden utensils in today, so I finally get to use them. So let me go ahead and mix that in. You do not want to add the onions to them till the very end. You still want the onions to be a bit raw. So give that a good mix. cover and I don't know, just check on about every 15 to 20 minutes or so. You want them to cook quite a while. So with the yellow rice, just follow the instructions on the package. The only difference is instead of 2.5 cups of water, I do a 1.25 cups of chicken stock and a 1.25 cups of water. The butter and the olive oil helps it stick together. You kind of want it to stick together with this dish. So let me let that cook for a while, and we'll be back in a little while. Okay, so the beans and rice are off to the side on simmer. I have a large frying pan with about, I'd say 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil in here. Coming up temperature, right now I have it on medium high. To bring it up, I will drop it down to about medium low. Best way to test if it's ready to go, throw an onion in there. It's still not quite hot enough, but the onion is starting to, it's about hot enough now. I want it to come up to more temperature before I start putting the pork in there. Take your first batch of pork and go ahead and drain them. You can either leave them in the Mojo marinade and just make sure you put them in drained before you, or drain it off before you put it in there. You don't want it splashing everywhere. So we'll go ahead and start transferring everything over. So you want to do these in the 2 batches. You don't want to do them all at one time and take up the pan. This will go pretty quick on you, so be prepared to start flipping. As soon as you get the last ones in there, you'll start having to flip them. It seems like it is batch. Put this over here. Let's just bowl out. I really didn't want raw pork inside of the bowl quite yet. Alright, so while it's going, go ahead and take your sliced onions, about half of them, go ahead and start sprinkling them in there. Let that go for a few moments, and we'll start flipping them, and we'll be back when I'm ready to take them out. We'll see you then. Alright, the pork is about ready to come out. Go ahead and start taking them out as much as you can. Don't worry about the onions. Get as much of the white ones as you can. If they're black, you can use them or you can leave them, whichever way. Turn this down. Temperature got a little bit away from me there for a moment. Trying to save as many onions as possible here. So might have to trade pans here in a minute. I got that too hot. They were cooking a little slow for my taste, and I accidentally got the pan a little bit too hot. So, yeah, let me put this to the back. We'll get another pan and heat it up. So, we'll be back in just a moment. Alright, so, I totally missed the footage on this. The other pan, I went ahead and just put it off for a while, like, cool down. And I'll go ahead and clean that later once it cools down. So I put everything in the pan here, and I'm going to forego the onions. What happened with the other one, it kind of fooled me a little bit. The marinade basically leaked out of the meat and cooled everything down. So I thought I had the temperature too low. And basically what it was is the temperature in the marinade, like I said, just slowed everything down. But once it got up to temperature, everything took off on me, and the meat is perfectly fine. It's the onions more I'm worried about. So I'm just going to go ahead and cook the meat on this. And once the meat is done, then I'll just throw the onions in there and saute them up a little bit, and the remaining drippings. So we'll be back in just a bit. Alright, the pork pieces are about ready to come out. Let me go ahead and transfer the bowl over there. Go ahead and just pull them out. Drip them off a little dry there. Like I said, don't turn the stove top off quite yet. We're just going to go ahead and throw the rest of the onions in there and saute them up. Give them a little bit of a stir, and you kind of want to get them to the point that they're just turning translucent. I do apologize for before, where I kind of got away from me a little bit. Yes, the sugars from the citrus fruit kind of makes stuff stick to the bottom a little bit. So yes, there will be a lot of cleanup afterwards, but it's well worth it. So what we're going to do is salty. These are about done actually. We'll go ahead and transfer them. But after that's done, you want to go ahead and feather your rice. Means just take a fork and kind of stir it up, break it apart. And you want to go ahead and start plating things up, and everything should be ready to eat. So let me wrap this up. And we'll be back in a bit. So to finish up, the quarter of an onion I had chopped up, you want to go ahead and pour it into the beans, like so, and give it a good mix. Like I said, you don't want to cook the onions in there, you want them kind of raw. And at this point, if you want to, you can add a little bit of hot sauce to here to taste. Or you can do it after you plate it up and serve it. So for right now, everything's pretty well done. Let me let it sit and cool for a little while. And I'll plate it up and take some pictures. So, here's the pork. I didn't want to put it over here by the hot eye, so I'll put it in camera over here. So if you like what you saw, please give me a thumbs up. As always, if you cook anything here, just let me know how it turns out. And until next time, have a great week and a great weekend, and bon appetit.